We all love our dogs, right? Of course we do. But what if I told you that in these small, everyday moments, we might be accidentally causing some real, lasting damage? Today, we're going to dive deep into the things our dogs hold on to, deep down in their hearts.
I think you know exactly what I'm talking about. It's that look, that quiet, kind of distant stare you get after a little misunderstanding. And it just makes you wonder, what is really going on behind those eyes?
And really, that's the big question we're exploring today. The truth is, some of our actions, even when we have the best intentions, can create these little emotional scars that, well, they just don't heal so easily. So, in this explainer, we're going to break down 7 things a dog will probably never forgive. The goal here is to help you protect that incredible bond from, that silent damage. And you're definitely going to want to stick with me because the last one is a real surprise. It's something most owners never see coming.
Okay, let's kick off our countdown with number 7. And listen, this one is so common, you might have even done it today without giving it a second thought. Picture this. You lean in, your hands comes down from above to give a good pat, and for just a split second, your dog flinches. Or maybe they just stiffen up a little. It's a tiny, tiny signal, but trust me, it's a crucial one. This isn't just about us showing affection. It's really about understanding that dogs see the world in a totally different way than we do.
So here's where the big disconnect happens. From your point of view, it's a clear sign of love, right? But think about it from your dog's perspective. A hand just descending from the sky, it blocks their vision, and honestly, it can feel pretty intimidating, even a little bit dominant. Now, a lot of dogs learn to tolerate it, especially from people they trust, but believe me, very, very few of them actually enjoy that kind of controlling gesture. So what's the fix? It's all about changing your approach. If you really want to build trust, you've got to respect their point of view. So instead of going right over the head, try petting their chest, or maybe giving them a gentle scratch under the chin. The trick is to move slowly, and here is the most important part. Let them lean into your hand first. Let them make that final move. When you give them that choice, wow, it's such a powerful way to build their confidence instead of chipping away at it. All right, let's move on to number 6. Now, this is a habit that can feel really effective in the moment, but it's one that causes some pretty deep, lasting harm to your relationship. Yeah, I'm talking about shouting. Look, yelling often gets a super fast reaction, and that's exactly what makes it so damaging. When you raise your voice, sure, your dog might stop what they're doing, but they aren't actually learning anything. They're just reacting purely out of fear.
And the science behind this is actually pretty fascinating. There's this concept called emotional imprinting. See, dogs don't process our angry words like we do. What they feel is the dangerous energy in our tone. That loud, sharp voice, it triggers their survival instincts, floods their system with stress hormones, and basically shuts down the part of their brain that's responsible for learning. It just goes offline. So yeah, you might get what looks like obedience in that moment, but underneath the surface, that trust you have is just quietly being destroyed. A calm, clear voice, that teaches so much more effectively and actually builds a bond that lasts. And think about it. Over time, a dog that gets yelled at a lot might just give up. They'll stop trying to feel safe around you. And that's heartbreaking.
Okay, coming in at number 5. This is something a lot of us might see as just another chore, but for your dog, it's an absolute lifeline to the entire outside world. And I really want you to stop and rethink what a walk is actually for. I mean, what if it's not really about the exercise or just bathroom breaks? What if it's something way, way more vital for their mental health? This quote just nails it. For a dog, a walk is this incredible sensory journey. The world of smells, that's their version of us reading the morning news or scrolling through social media. When those walks don't happen, their whole world just shrinks. And all that mental energy, it has nowhere to go, so it turns inward. And that's when you see frustration that leads to chewing, barking, and anxiety. Even a short walk where you just let them lead and sniff around, that simple act says, hey, your world and your needs matter to me. Okay, on to number 4. This one is all about how we can completely unintentionally turn a place of safety into a place of deep anxiety for our dogs. Now, here's what's so important to understand. This isn't about the crate itself. Not at all. It's about the powerful emotional association that we create with it. A dog never, ever forgets how a place makes them feel. So let's just walk through how this goes wrong. A crate is supposed to be your dog's private, safe den. Think of it as their own little bedroom. But the moment we send them there in anger, we've basically poisoned that sanctuary.
That feeling of safety gets completely replaced by stress and isolation. And pretty soon, that crate stops being a place of rest and becomes a symbol of your anger, something they learn to fear and avoid at all costs.
Let's talk about number 3. This is all about the invisible stress that builds up when a dog's world just feels totally chaotic and unpredictable. I want you to imagine for a second that you have permanent jet lag. You never know when you're going to eat or when your day is really supposed to begin. That's kind of what a life without a predictable routine feels like for your dog. They're creatures of habit, you know? They absolutely thrive on patterns to feel secure. So when meal times, walks, and bedtime are all over the place, your dog is forced to live in this state of constant uncertainty. And that confusion just quietly raises their baseline anxiety level. And that's when you start to see things like pacing, whining, or even destructive behaviors. Look, you don't need a rigid down-to-the-minute schedule, but having that basic foundation of consistency, that's what tells your dog that their world is safe, and most importantly, that they can count on you. Okay, we're down to the final 2. And number 2, this is a really quiet habit that can make a dog feel completely invisible in their own home. Now, let me be super clear about this. This isn't about giving your dog attention 24/7. That's not realistic. This is about acknowledging their little attempts to connect with you. You know the moments. Your dog brings you a toy and you just keep scrolling on your phone. Or they nudge your hand for a pet and you just kind of push it away without even looking. It's in those tiny moments that they learn a really heartbreaking lesson. Okay, I should just stop asking.
And this right here is the devastating result. See, they don't usually act out or get angry. They just fade. Their tail wags a little less often, their eyes stop looking for yours, that little spark they have just starts to dim. And that emotional distance, man, it is so incredibly hard to repair once a dog decides it's just not worth the effort to try and connect anymore. And hey, if you're finding these insights helpful for strengthening that bond you have, this is a great time to hit that subscribe button for our channel, Love Dogs, and join our amazing community.
And here we are, the number 1 thing a dog will never forgive. This is the one that so many loving, well-meaning owners miss, the one that can just quietly extinguish a dog's spirit. Now, before you jump to conclusions, this is not about spoiling your dog or making them overweight. Not at all. This is about feedback. It's about communication. I want you to think of rewards, and that could be a small treat or just some joyful praise. Think of it like a paycheck. It's a clear, tangible signal that says, yes, that right there, your effort was seen and it was valued. Because when their good behavior and their genuine effort go completely unnoticed time after time, their motivation just dies. I mean, sure, your dog might still obey you, but they'll do it with less enthusiasm, less joy, and way less belief that trying is even worthwhile. And at that point, your dog isn't being stubborn. They've just learned a sad lesson, that their efforts are invisible, so they've stopped offering them. So let's wrap this up with this one powerful idea, because it really ties everything we've talked about together. Our actions create feelings in our dogs, and those feelings, they become permanent memories. So by choosing patience, by providing a consistent and safe routine, and by just being present when they try to connect with you, you are actively protecting a bond that to them means the entire world. So I'll leave you with this question. I think we all have those moments, those turning points in our relationships with our dogs that change everything. What was yours? I'd love for you to share your story down in the comments below. We really would love to read them. And of course, if this explainer helped you see your dog in a new light, please make sure you're subscribed to Love Dogs for more insights into these amazing animals we share our lives with. Thanks so much for watching.